Okay, everyone, so before we begin, I'd first like to apologize for the bad visual quality on a previous video where I went through the Switch reveal trailer. Really sorry about that. I'm trying a new tactic now that looks like it's going to make things smaller, but I think the picture's going to be better, so we'll see how it turns out, and hopefully it's for the better. I got a lot of points to get through here. My Switch Concerns video had like half the points of this one, so I'm going to try and get through everything as quickly as possible here. So first, as you can see on the screen, we have the release date. By the way, I'm covering the things that were covered and were revealed in the Switch presentation, and we got some Treehouse news in there as well, and from a bunch of other places. Just anything that's popped up the past few days, I've tried to condense in here. So the first thing we have is a Nintendo Switch release date. It's going to come March 3rd, 2017, which is a lot earlier than I think a lot of people were predicting. I was seeing a lot of predictions for like the teens and the 20s of March, but it's coming very beginning of March. And second of all, we have the MSRP, the real retail price for it at launch. It's going to be $299.99 or $300. That's the price the PS4 and Xbox One are right now, so that's very competitive. Gives them a little bit of wiggle room too to lower the price if it doesn't sell at first, so good. It's good for that. They briefly touched on the online service, and this is actually from Nintendo's website. They talked about this a little bit during the presentation, but this is the more fleshed out information, so I'm just going to read this off for you. So it says online lobby and voice chat. Our new dedicated smart device app will connect to Nintendo Switch and let you invite friends to play online, set play appointments, and chat with friends during online matches and competitive games, all from your smart device. A free limited version of this app will be available for download in summer 2017. So they're describing their online service, and you notice the keyword free there. It's actually a free trial. It's going to start out free for the first few months the Switch is out. And then come the fall, it's going to start being a paid service. They didn't disclose how much you have to pay or anything, but that's what it's going to start out as. And so it's got some similar features to like PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live Gold. Specifically here with like the monthly game download, it says subscribers will get to download and play Nintendo Entertainment, an NES or SNES game with newly added online play for free for a month. And so the fine print there is, it doesn't sound like you get to keep that game, which is unfortunate. And then you also get access to exclusive deals and special offers if you subscribe to the service. Alright, and alright, next, so this is just the rundown of the features. So you get the free trial of online play, but you have to subscribe for online lobby and voice chat, for a monthly game download and exclusive deals. And then either way, you get access to the Nintendo eShop, you can register and manage friends, share screenshots on social media, talk more on that in a minute, and access the Nintendo Switch Parental Controls app. And that's another thing, we're also going to have an app for parental controls here, which they had an adorable little video that ran down the features of that specifically, and if you haven't seen that, please go watch it. It's like the most adorable thing I've ever seen. It's Bowser being a good dad to Bowser Jr. It's incredibly adorable and it's awesome. But yeah, backtracking a little bit, and I hate to speculate and stuff here, but like voice chat in an app just sounds terrible to me. Like why couldn't they just add this into the system? I mean, other systems have had this for a while. Microsoft has had this since the Xbox 360. Why can Nintendo still not implement these things into their actual consoles? This is so I'm probably going to hate that, and I'm probably going to continue to use something like Skype or Discord to chat with people because, well, I have a Windows phone and it's probably not going to output to Windows because they tend to prefer Android and iOS right now, so we'll see. And then paid online, we'll see about that too. I guess that's just the trend now. It's something that doesn't really make sense to me, but I guess I'll just have to accept it. Alright, moving on really quick. So the system also will not be region locked really quick. They talked about how their previous consoles were region locked, and you could only play the games from specific parts of the world depending on, like, you know, I shouldn't have to explain what region locking is to people watching this video, but the Switch will not be region locked, so you can get like all... They discuss later that there might be some Japanese exclusive games, but that won't be a problem. And so yeah. Next, that's what this screenshot is actually for. The battery life is supposedly 2.5 to 6 hours. And as a reference, they say Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild can play for about 3 hours on the battery life. And that's okay to me. I'm honestly probably going to use it for more of the console side myself. But yeah, like 3 to 6 hours would be all I would need. And so I think especially on that top end, that's some great battery life, and that was more than I was expecting. And so additionally, in regards to battery life and charging things, it has been confirmed that the dock does not charge the Switch tablet. And the Joy-Con grip controller, the thing you slide the two Joy-Cons into, that does not charge the Joy-Cons just yet, but there's supposedly going to be a later version that does. And also they confirmed that the Switch uses USB Type-C type connection, so you can take like your phone chargers and things, plug it right in there, it should be able to work. And there should be an included AC adapter for the Switch tablet, and they said that you can charge the Switch while you're playing, even when docked, and I'll cover that in a minute. So we actually got some tiny glimpses of the user interface. This is our first look at the user interface for the Nintendo Switch, and it's very sleek and simplified. I've heard people say it's kind of a PS4 type layout, and it kind of is, where it has the games laid out like this. Here's a more front view picture of it, and they do have Joy-Con colors now. More on that in a little bit. But yeah, so it has the list of games here, and then we've identified what these are. This is a section for notifications. This is obviously the eShop. This is for capturing stuff with the capture button here. I'll cover that in just a second. I'm actually not sure what this is. It's something about Joy-Con settings, probably syncing controllers or something. This looks like general settings, and then that's power. And then I'm not entirely sure what these are up here. And then you have the time, connection, battery, all that. And then also, during the Treehouse event, while they were playing Breath of the Wild, we got this glimpse of the keyboard. And do you see these things here? The shortcut buttons, especially for like spacebar and things like that. That is fantastic, seeing that. I'm so glad they made that jump. And this actually looks a lot like a PS4 on-screen keyboard type of thing. And so I'm looking forward to that. It'll be so much easier to type. They briefly mention that the screen is capacitive touch, which means it is a multi-touch screen, if anyone was concerned about that. And Nintendo has apparently reported that the Switch will not have Miiverse or Spot Pass functionality. Or, I believe that's Street Pass. I'm sorry. It won't have those functionalities. I don't care about the latter, but not having Miiverse is kind of disappointing to me, because it was cool to have like a sort of Nintendo's own version of Facebook in a way, to just share stuff on and talk about things. I thought it was a really cool feature that the other consoles didn't necessarily have. And I would have liked to have seen that expanded upon in later generations, but I don't think we're going to see that. Hopefully they just replace it with something that's basically the same thing, it just has a lot more features and goes by a different name. I hope that's what really happens. But it looks like the sharing stuff is just going to be like straight to regular social media, so it's like eliminating the middleman in a way. And it's going to be more like PS4 and stuff. I'll cover that in a second. Also, They confirmed the Switch has strong local multiplayer. You can connect up to 8 Nintendo Switches at once locally. And I wonder, I'm not sure if they confirmed this or not, but since you can use the Joy-Con as individual controllers, does that mean you could have 16 players at once in particular games? Say if, like, going out on a limb, if like Call of Duty or something came to the Switch, you could do like a whole LAN game that way, and that would be cool. And also, they didn't really cover this either, unfortunately, but the 8 connecting locally could be really good for esports, because that's actually the perfect amount to do a 4v4 Splatoon game. So that's probably why they did that. Let's see. Alright, and so you've been hearing that they actually didn't cover a whole lot of things, but what they did cover was the Joy-Con controllers. Holy shit, there is so much new info about this. Like, way too in-depth, and way too many details for me, honestly. First of all, what this screenshot signifies, I'm sorry, it could have been a little better. What this signifies is there's actually an NFC reader in the control stick on the right Joy-Con, and that is really, really weird to me, but that's apparently where it is. I mean, it looks like they had like the room down here to put it or something, but no, it's right in the control stick. And that's pretty crazy. And so, as I said before, there's the capture button on the left Joy-Con. They said it's good for posting screenshots to social media now, and later on you will have the functionality to also share video. So it's going to be like that PS4 share, and probably Xbox, although I know less about the Xbox side of things. But yeah, that's great. And they said both Joy-Con have motion controls, and they actually have these buttons on the side rails, so when you're using it as a controller by itself, you have your own L and R buttons here. They've dubbed them SL and SR, so it's like the switch left, switch right, and I like that. That's neat. And so it's like no matter how you're playing, you should have all the necessary buttons. And they also have Joy-Con wrist straps. That's right, we're back to this. So they have a nice design to them, though. They sort of slide onto the rail of the Joy-Con. It makes the controller look a little beefier, and it makes it easier to press those SL and SR buttons, so it could be good for that. And there's also an IR camera on the bottom of the right Joy-Con that's good at determining distance and hand movements and things like that. They said it could differentiate between rock, paper, and scissors. Pretty cool. And they also went really in-depth with this feature called HD Rumble, which is like a rumble pack on steroids inside these things. And so the analogy they use is like if you're playing a sort of mini game where it's a bunch of ice cubes in a glass, you can like tell from the rumble and vibration in the Joy-Con how many ice cubes are in that glass, and you can like feel it fill up with water and stuff. Really crazy. It sounds like some really high-tech stuff. My concerns here, though, are that this extreme coverage of the Joy-Con was like really disturbing to me, because it's basically like, oh look, small high-tech Wii remotes. I kind of thought we were past that point. I thought the focus of the Switch was like more normal style, casual controller type gaming. And then they focused, in my opinion, way too much on these Joy-Con controllers. So I know the original Wii was really popular and sold really well because of that focus, but I mean, I don't know. I'm just past the point of wanting that kind of thing. And then at the Treehouse event, or one of a part of IGN's coverage at the Treehouse event, they confirmed that the Joy-Cons each have a battery life of about 20 hours, which is okay. That's alright. I mean, honestly, at this point, all controllers should be like the Pro controller and just have 80 hours, so you hardly have to worry about it. But I'll cover more about how the Joy-Cons charge and stuff like that a little later on. So now, going on to the next part, all the games that were revealed and covered. Oh man, there's a lot of them. So first of all, my Wii-type concerns are continuing with these first two games. So the first one they covered is a game called 1-2-Switch, and it's basically the Wii Sports of the Switch, where you do all these games where the focus is like looking... the focus is not even looking at the screen and just like looking at Joy-Cons or looking like your opponent in the eye and things like that. It's more of like a party game, parlor trick kind of thing, and like hardly even a video game at all. And I just hated that. I just hated seeing that kind of stuff. But the second game... Oh, by the way, before I go into that, these are the confirmed game cases for Switch titles. They're smaller than Wii U cases, but they're taller than 3DS cases. I've heard they're about the shape of PSP cases, is what they're going to be like. And so you can expect them to look like this. Just a little... I don't know if it's possible to be disappointed by a game cover. Or like a game case design. I was like, you know how the Wii U, it like wraps around at the top here, but the Nintendo Switch is just this little boop in the corner. And so, but it looks like they are going with red for the color scheme, and I really like that, since PS4 stole their mojo and taking blue back. So red is theirs, and I'm happy about that. Anyway, alright, so the second game they showed off that was really Joy-Con centric, though, actually really appealed to me, and it is called ARMS. And I saw it as like basically if Splatoon, it's like Splatoon in fighting game form. Like it's got that unique, it's like the unique effect that Splatoon had on shooters, ARMS has on fighting games. And it's like really cool. And you use two Joy-Cons. A Joy-Con is each arm in the game. And it's like a really in-depth fighting game, and it looks really cool. And they showed a few characters and a few arenas. The art style is really nice, the graphics look beautiful, and it just seems like a lot more content, and it's more of an actual game than 1-2-Switch is. And so that was great. And so backtracking just a little bit and covering the release dates of this, 1-2-Switch is actually going to be a launch title. Surprise, surprise. And then ARMS is coming in the spring, supposedly, which I think March is a part of spring, so maybe like April or something. I mean, basically a launch game is how I see spring. But yeah, alright, and then the next thing, this is huge. Everything before this event, I could have sworn was pointing to Splatoon being a port or remaster. But no, we're getting an actual sequel. It is Splatoon 2, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm really excited about that. They showed off a bunch of new things. There's new special abilities, new cosmetic things to get. As you can see, the hairstyle is different. New weapons. They really stressed one called the Splat Dualies. It's like dual-wield pistol things that give you a high firing rate, and you can dash. And they look really cool, really fun to play with. And they said you could play with the Pro Controller, so you don't need the motion control. And to me, that's really cool, but if I can use the gyro sensor with the Joy-Con grip, that would probably be fine for me. That would be pretty comfortable. But yeah, the different playstyles is going to be really cool. And the biggest thing to me, though... excuse me. The biggest thing to me, though, was they said it has actual local multiplayer this time. And that you can use, you know, the 8 Switch tablets to connect together locally and have, like, actual matches. And they probably did that for the esports scene. But again, they didn't really discuss that angle of things. And this game is slated for a summer 2017 release. So you don't have to wait very long. Alright, and now the next one is Super Mario Odyssey. Now, if you didn't watch the reveal, you might be wondering what this is. So, that Mario game that we briefly saw in the reveal trailer that I thought was a tech demo, stupid me, it's an actual game. It exists. It is called Super Mario Odyssey, and it is coming out in holiday 2017. And it looks really cool. They said it's going to be returning to that Mario Sandbox game format, and it's really pretty. Let me show you some screenshots. It's Mario seems kind of out of place in some of these worlds. There's this one modeled after New York City. It's called New Donk City, I guess. But and a lot of people have had fun with this picture with the man staring in Mario. I've seen some stuff on Twitter. People do the crude drawings where he picks Mario up and is like, "Whose kid is this?" Some great stuff. But yeah, as you can see, the graphics look pretty awesome, and you might be able to see it even better in this one. This looks like the same area, but like at night, and it's raining. It's got a weather system and stuff. But yeah, I think it looks really good. And there's a bunch of different worlds that you go to. It's like, here's the one that we saw in that reveal trailer. There's the city I showed you. There's this rainforest area. I wish I could have found a better screenshot for it. They showed off a lot of much cooler areas in this. And then there's this like No Man's Sky color kind of fruit food world, and it's really weird. And then this is the hub thing he uses to move around, go from world to world. And it looks really cool. Really cool. And it is sticking to the same format, though, of Bowser kidnapping Princess Peach here. And he is looking dapper as fuck, though. And he looks wonderful. I've heard a few people are like sad about it. It seems to be innovating so much, but it's still using the same Mario format, and I mean, that's not going to affect my decision. I'm still going to pick it up and probably enjoy it. I don't mind it too much. But yeah, it looks really cool. I'm trying to see it. Oh yeah, okay. And so Xenoblade, this is supposedly Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So while Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U was more of a spiritual successor to Xenoblade Chronicles, this one is more of a direct sequel, but the art style looks really different. It looks like it uses different characters and things too, so I'm not really sure. But yeah, it looks really cool. And they also teased the rumored Koei Tecmo game, and it's going to be Fire Emblem Warriors, which I'm actually really hyped about now. I've unfortunately only played one Fire Emblem game, if you don't include playing as them in Smash, which you probably don't. But I know enough about the series, and I loved Hyrule Warriors. I love Hyrule Warriors so much, and honestly, Fire Emblem just seems like an even better fit for like an actual Warriors game, because like I've played some regular Warriors games and I know how they play, and so Fire Emblem just seems like an even better fit, and it's going to be a great game. I'm really looking forward to it. Okay, and so they briefly did a general discussion of third-party games. They announced that apparently 80 games are already in development from third parties. That's awesome. That's awesome. And then they went into some in depth. We're getting all the Dragon Quest games. If you like that series. With Xenoblade, Dragon Quest, and some others, the Switch is getting all the JRPGs, and it's going to be great. They've got that market locked down. And so you're getting Dragon Quest 10 and 11, and Heroes 1 and 2 for the Nintendo Switch, so you can enjoy that. There's going to be a new Shin Megami Tensei game coming to the Switch, so supposedly Shin Megami Tensei 5, but it's just started development, so probably not a 2017 release date, but it is coming. And then Square Enix title called Project Octopath Traveler, and that has an unknown release date, I believe. But it looked really cool. It looked kind of cool. It was like the old like 8-bit, 16-bit style graphics, but it had some like HD kind of like lighting effects and things like that. It was really neat. Also, Sega voiced their support. Sonic Mania and whatever Project Sonic 2017 are coming. So look forward to that. Todd Howard himself came on video during the presentation and confirmed that the Elder Scrolls V Skyrim is coming to the Switch, but it's going to be a fall release, so you'll have to wait a little while for that. And then a No More Heroes game, maybe? It's because this was just like a really weird and awkward appearance by Suda51 from Grasshopper, and he was just like, hey, you guys remember Travis Touchdown? He's gonna be in a game on the Switch at some point, and that was basically the whole thing, aside from some awkwardness. But yeah, so he said they don't have the title figured out, and so I'll be like, how hard would it be to just call it No More Heroes 3, but it might not be that. He just might be in something else. I don't know. We're hopefully going to find more out about that in the future. Next, the executive vice president of EA came and just basically said, we're getting FIFA for the Switch. Big shocker. I kind of really wanted to know what the other EA game was, because there's supposedly 2 big EA games coming to the Switch, but they did not tell us. He just said there's more to say in the coming months, and that the FIFA experience will be a unique experience and like the most social, personalized for the console, so look forward to that, I guess. Alright. And so after that, they just did this giant sizzle reel with showing like a ton of games coming, and some of them were just kind of like afterthoughts, and I just didn't think that was fair. They just like sort of peppered them in there. So I'm going to quickly run through these. So they have Minecraft and Minecraft Story Mode coming. Minecraft at least is this year, but we don't know about Minecraft Story Mode. Skylanders Imaginators is coming to the Switch. That's a launch title. Rayman Legends Definitive Edition, with some new surprises apparently, is supposed to be a launch title, I think. We have Lego City Undercover coming. That was coming to the PS4 and Xbox One, and now it's also coming to the Switch. Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 is coming sometime in 2017. We're getting Farming Simulator, whoopee! Disgaea 5 Complete, coming in the spring. We're getting a game called Spelunker. Has Been Heroes coming out in March. I Am Setsuna to be determined 2017. Just Dance 2017 is going to be a launch title. Romance of the Three Kingdoms 13 is coming. That might be a Japan exclusive, I'm not sure. Siberia 3, whatever that is. They showed a little bit of it in the sizzle reel. It seemed kind of important. That's supposedly in 2017. Nobunaga's Ambition, Sphere of Influence, might also be a Japan exclusive, I'm not sure. And for some reason, Ultra Street Fighter 2, The Final Challengers, so like some edition of like the last version of Street Fighter 2 that has 2 new characters being Violent Ken and Evil Ryu. So look forward to that, I guess. It has a new HD art style graphic. Or I'm not sure if it's new, but it's like the 16:9 aspect ratio HD art style. Or you can play as the classic 4:3 ratio graphics. Super Bomberman R is a launch title. Why was this not a bigger deal? It disturbed me that was just peppered in there. Haven't they like not made a Bomberman game in like several years? I feel like that should have been like a major reveal for them, but nope, just peppered in. But I also might be crazy. I've like never played any of those games, and I don't really pay attention. So if I'm wrong, someone correct me. Also got Puyo Puyo Tetris, whatever that is. It's coming in the spring. We've got Snipper Clips, Cut It Out Together, coming out in March. We have Rhyme coming out in the spring. It was a really beautiful looking game that was going to be on the other console, or it was going to be like a PS4 exclusive or something. And then they just said, nope, it's coming out on everything. So we're getting that. It looks really cool. I'm looking forward to it. We've got Steep coming out. That I think this is wrong, and that's supposed to be a launch title. But that's apparently an open-world skiing snowboarding game that's on other consoles. Sounds kind of cool. I did not know about that. We're getting Fast RMX, which, if you guys know Fast Racing Neo, which was a pretty cool game on Wii U. I'm not sure if this version is a port or a straight-up sequel. I have no idea. Okay. We're getting NBA 2K18 sometime in 2017. We're getting a game called Redout in the spring, which honestly looked exactly like Fast RMX, except it might be a little more like pod racing. I don't actually know. But I don't know. I might check it out. And then the next thing, another game we got confirmed, since we got Splatoon confirmed, there was the question of Mario Kart. And yes, it is a port, or yeah, it's basically a port. It's hardly a remaster, but it's going to be called Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and it's got a few things in it that they covered in the Treehouse. And so first of all, it's going to have an April 28th release, so you won't have to wait very long at all for that. It was discovered in the Treehouse event that the game now runs at 60 FPS at all times, where I interpret that as to mean like whether you're doing like 4-player split screen and on the TV and in tablet mode, it's always 60 FPS, and that's awesome because having like the 2-player 60 FPS in Mario Kart 8 on Wii U was a really cool feature. And so if they're continuing that, stressing that high quality frame rate, that's good. They showed a ton of new characters. You get 2 versions of the Inklings, as you can see up here. Let me zoom in. So you have Inklings up here. You have a girl version and a boy version with different color types, I believe. And so there's them. You can play as King Boo, who is not on the cover, I don't believe. And there's the one I'm most excited about, though, is Bowser Jr. He's finally back after they had all the Koopalings and then did not have Bowser Jr. That really upset me, but he's in there now. And I think Dry Bones is in there too, and I think some others. And also, the game has an actual battle mode now. It's like the classic style battle mode with some new modes to it, but it has its own maps and stuff. At the Treehouse, they showed off this new map that took advantage of the anti-gravity stuff. Oh, it's really cool. I really loved it, and so I'm looking forward to it. I played a crap ton of Mario Kart 8 on Wii U. It's probably my most played game on Wii U, to be honest. But I might still pick this version up because it would be really fun to play with all the new features and take it on the go and stuff. So I'm really excited about that. Let's see. Okay. Alright, so yeah, I'll cover this next. So, here's the $1,000,000 question, though. This is probably what you were all waiting for. And this is skipping a bit in the presentation. I'm going to backtrack and cover some other things after this. But they ended the presentation with The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And the very last frame of this new trailer they showed the release date. And when is that release date? It's a goddamn launch title. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is a launch title for the Switch. Will be there day 1. And in even better news, it's going to be out on the same day for the Wii U. No delays there. And so you can play it on any console you want come March 3rd. And that is great. And man, I just want to take a moment and say the trailer that they showed to accompany this was just like really epic and amazing and emotional. And we got there's a version of it up on YouTube now that has the English voice acting, and it sounds so good, and I'm just so excited for this game, even more so than I was, if that's even possible. But yeah, let's see. All right, continuing on. There's if just getting the game isn't enough for you, there's also going to be this Master Edition that comes in this pretty box. Comes with a map of the world. You get a Sheikah Slate carrying case for your Switch tablet. You get this nice statue, and of course you get the game. You get a CD copy of the soundtrack, and you get a Sheikah token. And all this is going to run you about $129.99, so $130 if you wanna, if you're a real Zelda fan and want to dish out that money. But it's probably already sold out everywhere, to be honest. There's also a special edition that comes with everything except the statue, and I believe that's $99.99 or $100, and that has a little higher, a little more quantity to it. Okay. And then lastly, the game is apparently around 13.4 gigabytes in size. So that's how big it would be if for some reason you decide to download it, which I don't know why you should, because discs and cartridges exist. But yeah, just anticipate that. I've heard that in the dock mode it might only put out a 900p resolution though on the Switch, whereas it's 720p on Wii U. So I mean, the Switch version is still better, but that's still a little disappointing. And that's a Japan report. But yeah, just like backtracking to like when the Xbox One first came out, and it's like, oh, all its games are 900p. How sad. And I mean, that's a little disappointing. But I mean, this seems like a really graphically intensive game with how big of an open world it is and things like that. Alright, and so going to briefly touch on some more games really quick, just going back to this one because it's just a general list of random games and crap. And so these are some things that this is just a basic list of other games we're sure are coming, whether it's things that were rumored to the point where they've been basically confirmed before the presentation, things where the developers were just like, you know what, the presentation's out now, we'll just announce this is coming. Just little side things, and so I'm going to list that. Alright, so first, Shovel Knight is apparently coming to the Switch as well. We have Yooka-Laylee, coming April 11th on other consoles. The Wii U version of Yooka-Laylee was cancelled, if you haven't heard already, so they're going to try and move it to the Switch instead. We'll see how that goes. There's Seasons of Heaven, that exclusive game that had a really nice trailer to it. We're getting Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus in the spring. Some game called Arcade Archives that apparently IGN heard about, but I have not seen anything about it anywhere else. We're apparently getting a new game in the SteamWorld series. Namco Bandai says they're making new games for the Switch in both the Tales of series and Taiko Drum Master. Arc System Works says a BlazBlue game is coming to the Switch, along with one other title. We're getting a game called State of Mind, which is like a futuristic third-person thriller, which I believe was a Steam exclusive before this, but I could be wrong on that. Telltale announced that the Guardians of the Galaxy game series will be coming to the Switch. That's awesome. I might choose to pick it up there. We got no mention, though, of the Mario Rabbids RPG crossover title. And we got no mention of the rumored Pokemon Stars, or the Smash Brothers port, or what's going on with Pokken. So no news there, unfortunately. Alright, and that's all the games, finally. Now we can move on. Okay, so here's what you get in that $300 bundle of the Nintendo Switch. As I put in my notes here, what's in the box? So this is it. You get the tablet console. You get a set of left and right Joy-Con, whether the bundle you choose is just gray or a neon blue and neon red. Those are the two options right now. You get the Nintendo Switch dock. You get the Joy-Con grip controller, which is a nice alternative. I'll probably be using that a lot. You get two Joy-Con wrist straps, and you get a built-in AC adapter. And of course you get the HDMI cable. Let's see. And yep, I covered the two versions. Okay. And yeah, here's what the boxes will look like. So you have the two different versions there. Alright, accessory costs. A lot has been revealed here, but you're probably not going to like it. So first of all, the Pro Controller is going to cost what is, in my opinion, hefty. It's going to be $69.99 or $70. And I've heard things like the Joy-Con's HD Rumble is in here too. And I would hope there's some high-tech stuff in there for it to cost that much. I think in the Treehouse they said that this also has an NFC reader, like up here somewhere or something. I forget where they actually said, but yeah, that price is a little much, but I'm still probably going to be picking one of these up, especially if I'm going to get a, like Street Fighter or something, or some other fighting game, like Tekken 7 decides to come out. I'm going to want the D-pad for that. I'm going to want an actual D-pad that the Joy-Cons can't give me. But yeah, it still looks like an insanely comfortable controller. I mean, look at these handles. Holy shit. Oh, it's going to be great. Okay, and so backtracking to what I said before about there's going to be another variant of the Joy-Con grip that charges the Joy-Cons while they're in there. Getting one of those is going to cost you $29.99, and that might honestly be a good alternative to the Pro Controller if you can't dish out the money for that. But the Joy-Con controllers can charge in other ways, and I'll discuss that a little more in a minute. Next, set of 2 Joy-Cons by themselves will cost $79.99, so $80, and again, that's really hefty. Well, I mean, kind of. I mean, I think Wii remotes are still like $30 to $40 in this day and age, so I mean, maybe that's not far off. But there's also the option to get a single Joy-Con for $49.99, so $50. So you do save a little bit of money getting that bundle. I guess that's good. Joy-Con straps are going to cost you $7.99 each, $8. I mean, I guess that's okay. I mean, it comes with 2 of them, so you'll probably be fine. And then they revealed the Joy-Con wheel accessory, where you put them. It's sort of like the ones for the Wii remotes, where it's a wheel and you put a Joy-Con in there. They revealed that during the Treehouse event when they were doing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and a pair of those is going to run you about $14.99, so $15. And then, alright, and the last confirmed price, as I've seen from the listings on Amazon and stuff, the games are still going to cost $59.99, so $60 a pop, like the regular rate now. I was thinking maybe they wouldn't cost that much considering their cartridges and they didn't have to spend the extra money to put a disk drive in their system, but apparently that's not the case and they're still going to be full price. So that's a little disappointing to me. As we've seen, these are the only 2 confirmed Switch bundles, so no packed-in games like that rumor was where we were going to get Splatoon 2. That obviously can't happen right now because that's coming out in the summer, but maybe when that does come out, there'll be a packed-in version, but there's no bundle of the Switch that comes with a packed-in game, unfortunately. And supposedly you can buy a Nintendo Switch dock by itself in the future, but there's no news of what that will cost yet. Alright, moving on. Alright, this was during IGN's coverage of the Treehouse event, and in separate videos as well. This is about like new system features and things they confirmed about the storage, and so we're past the games and accessories now, getting back to the system itself. And so it's been confirmed that the system does have only 32 gigs of internal storage, which is kind of bad. I mean, it's 2017. Other consoles would have like 500 gigs to a terabyte of storage, 2 terabytes. I mean, come on. That's a little short. They say it can support SD cards, quote-unquote, as big as you can purchase, is what they said, and supposedly more in the future. So that means you can, in the Treehouse event, they put a 256 gigabyte SD card in there, and it's supposedly compatible with that. Right now you can buy 512 gig ones, and soon there's supposedly going to be 2 terabyte micro SD cards. And so if you can get one of those, then that'll solve any concerns, and you will never have to worry about storage again. And as you can see in the screenshot here, I did this a little early, sorry, but the SD card slot is right under where the kickstand is. So you pop the kickstand out, and that's where it is. And that's a little concerning to me because I would think that thing could just fall right out of there, but I don't know. Alright. Oh, I'm on the last page. Oh my gosh. We're getting there. Just checking. Is this still recording? Yes. Okay. We're at that 45-minute mark pretty much. I need to hurry up. Alright, and so I cut to this a little early. I'm sorry. Okay, so as I said before, the dock does not charge the Switch tablet, but we did get our first look at the back of the Switch dock, which apparently opens up and reveals these goodie plugs here. And also the tablet itself apparently charges the Joy-Con controllers while they're in there, so that might sap up a little bit of the battery life, and that might be why it's a little unsatisfactory to some people. But that would be the main way you charge your Joy-Con controllers, is by just having them attached to the tablet itself. But anyway, back to the back of this dock here. So we have an AC adapter at the top here. And that allows you to plug the included AC adapter in there so you can charge the console while you're playing, and that's how that works. And there's also a third USB port, because if you've seen pictures of the dock before, it had 2 regular USB ports on the side. This looks like a USB 3.0 one. And it's great. It's great that they have another one of these, because I was getting concerned about the 2 plugs not being enough. Say if that Wii U GameCube controller adapter decides to work for the Switch, and then you want to plug something else in there, and that would cause problems. But it's good that they have this other one back here. And I'm going to go in depth as of why. So they didn't actually cover my Ethernet concern, but I found a post. A day or so before it, where the company Hori, who is known for making a lot of Nintendo console accessories, they apparently leaked a bunch of accessories they have planned for the Switch. And one of them, if you look right here, oh, look at that! It's a LAN adapter. We've seen those before. And so that can just plug in right back here, and then you still have those 2 plugs there. And that's great. And so that kind of solves my Ethernet issue, or concern. It's not really an issue now. That solved my Ethernet concern for the Switch, and so you can connect it with an Ethernet cable. And that's awesome. And then they did confirm that the tablet itself it does have a 720p screen, and it outputs up to 1080p on the TV while it's docked. But in Breath of the Wild's case, maybe 900p, unfortunately. Alright, I think that was everything. But now I'm going to cover the stuff that wasn't covered in the presentation or Treehouse, or just in general. My internet concerns technically weren't covered. They didn't discuss that at all anywhere, really. I had to find that shady Hori leak there to get that resolved. With the paid subscription and stuff, in the case of like the Xbox 360, I think it was paid because the internet was actually like really high quality, and so I'm not sure if Nintendo's pack in there or not, or if it's worthwhile. So still concerned about that. Voice chat sort of covered with the discovery of the app, but that it still just sounds really bad, so it's still a concern to me. I really don't want to fool with that. I just want voice chat on the damn console. I don't know why that's so hard to do. There was no mention of what the Switch is doing for esports. No mention of events that they're going to try and do or anything like that. I thought a decent-sized section of the presentation was going to be devoted to that. Because now we'll switch to see what we're doing with esports and just like go on a tangent about that. But no, that's not what happened, so we just don't know. It's kind of just like, I guess they're just kind of like, we hope it's gonna take off. And just left it at that. We didn't find out about achievements at all. I know a lot of people are concerned about that. Probably me to a lesser extent. But hey, achievements are cool. I wouldn't mind having them. I would like to know whether they're there or not. We're still not sure about like other apps or services it's going to have. Like in my concerns video, I talked about if they're trying to market it a little more as a tablet, and so it has like many of the essential apps that like tablets and phones would have in this day and age. So like if you could access like Twitter and stuff. I mean, I'm sure it has its own web browser, so you can probably do that stuff anyway. But like to have those dedicated apps, like almost like it's its own OS that extensively has that kind of stuff. And then there's the stuff like Netflix and Hulu. And there was the question of whether it was going to get Nintendo's portable apps like Pokemon Go or Miitomo or what's the third one? Super Mario Run, if it was going to have Super Mario Run, and things like that. We still don't know about that stuff. That's up in the air. Although it's still fleshed out, I mean, storage is kind of a concern unless we can get that 2 terabyte SD card or 1 terabyte or maybe 500. The 500 one will be okay, but we'll see. Because since they're cartridges, the games themselves don't have to install onto the system like with discs, so we don't have to worry about that much. But it's things like updates and those pesky indie games that are digital only and things like that. And the games, I was pleasantly surprised with all the games that got released. It's thankfully not as many rip-offs as I thought it was going to be, rip-offs from the Wii U. Splatoon is an actual sequel. I thought that was going to be a remaster. Xenoblade 2, I thought it was going to be maybe like a port of Xenoblade Chronicles X or Xenoblade Chronicles X2, but now that game is uniquely Wii U, and that's great. That is a great game and a great reason to buy a Wii U if you haven't played it. Xenoblade Chronicles X is fantastic. And it's great that the Switch is getting its own game too, and that's a highly anticipated sequel, so that's a good reason to get a Switch too. Mario Kart is the only confirmed port so far, and that's great. Everything else is like new games, and that's awesome. Another great thing is Breath of the Wild is still coming to Wii U. Going to be same day too, and that's great. I was concerned about the Switch taking all these like last efforts for the Wii U, because it already took Yooka-Laylee, because the Wii U version of that was cancelled. Darksiders War Mastered Edition is still up in the air. I don't know what's going on with that. And I was hearing concerns about Breath of the Wild being downgraded a lot on Wii U and having a lot of trouble porting it over. And so I was concerned that that version of the game might have been delayed or maybe even canceled altogether, but no, it seems like it's actually right on track and it's coming out at the same time, and that's great. I'm super happy about that. I think I'm actually going to wait for the Switch version, but I'm still happy for those Wii U owners that are holding out and don't want to get a Switch quite yet. I'm glad that option's there. Okay, so back to the things that weren't covered. There was no mention, like I said, of a Pokken port, which I don't know if there's like actual rumor around it, but I've just figured, because people hated the Wii U port so much, but the game's doing really well in arcades in Japan and stuff, so I would figure they would try to have a superior console version, but no mention of that. No mention of Super Smash Brothers, which is rumored to be a port of the Wii U version with more content and stuff, but no word on that. Retro Studios is supposedly making a Nintendo game that's supposedly not going to be Metroid or Donkey Kong, but no word on that either. And similarly, no mention of Metroid either. When some YouTubers like Obi-Wan made a big deal about that, it's like, it's coming, look for it. Wasn't there, wasn't anywhere. And Pikmin is like, I remember, like, wasn't it with like the original like NX rumors, like that long ago, back when it was actually called the NX? Weren't there like actual rumors? It's like, hey, the NX is a thing and it's gonna have Pikmin 4 on it, but no word on Pikmin, unfortunately. And then as I've said, there was no mention. Well, I'm not sure if I have said this exactly or not, but there was no mention of Yooka-Laylee coming to the Switch. No mention of Darksiders, which I wasn't really expecting anyway. I had no reason to. It's just that the Wii U version's been delayed, and I'm not sure what THQ Nordic is trying to do there. Like if they wanted to push it onto the next console or not. So I guess it's good that it didn't show up, because I kind of wanted to get that game on Wii U. But and then also Beyond Good and Evil 2. There was a whole stirring of stuff about how that could be like a Switch exclusive, but nope, nothing there. And then, aside from like the first and second party stuff, the third party reveals were largely not what people were anticipating, I think. And I mean, there's kind of some pros and cons to that. I mean, there were a lot of surprises at the event, which was really cool, actually. But on the other hand, there's still a lot of stuff we don't know, and we don't know that a lot of these rumors are confirmed or not. And that's kind of a dick move on Nintendo's part, once again. Even though all this information has come out, there's still so much that we're left in the dark on, and it's really aggravating. But for example, though, we got no mention of Dark Souls stuff. I've heard rumors about maybe just Dark Souls 3 or the Dark Souls trilogy or something Dark Souls. They showed From Software is supporting the Switch in some way, shape, or form. And a lot of people think that's some version of Dark Souls coming to Switch, and we got no word of that. All they said was they had them listed on that picture I showed of all the developers supporting them, and said 80 games are in development, look forward to it. There was no word on Seasons of Heaven. Is it an indie game? I don't think it's an indie game, but I forget the name of the studio that does it, unfortunately. But it looks like a really neat kind of game, and just no word on it. And I don't know, that's a pretty unique thing, and I would have capitalized on that. Ubisoft wasn't really there at all, which I found kind of surprising. And so there was, and as I said, there was no word on that Mario and Rabbids crossover game, unfortunately, and supposedly Assassin's Creed Egypt or whatever, or Empire, Assassin's Creed Empire, I believe, is supposedly coming to the Switch, and we got no word on that or anything else. Just those confirmed Ubisoft games from before that I mentioned were Just Dance and Steep and all those. Well, Just Dance has been like common knowledge for like, I'm pretty sure that's another one of those like original rumors. It's like NX is announced, Ubisoft's like Just Dance Day 1. Look forward to it. And so yeah, I've known about that, but those were just like side reveals, and Steep was shown in the that sizzle reel I mentioned, but there was no big like Ubisoft thing. And as I said earlier, EA showed up briefly to just say FIFA was coming, not even show anything, and not the supposed second title, which disappointed me. It's like, I'm pretty sure that first title was going to be FIFA. But it's that second title that concerns me, because I really want to know if it's just another sports game or not. No offense, but if it's an actual game and not a sports game. I've heard things like Mass Effect and probably Battlefield are unlikely, but I've heard like weird ass claims like Titanfall 2 or something coming to the Switch. Like, I don't know where someone got that, but I mean, it would have been nice to know what that supposed second title was. And it's really a shame. And another big thing game-wise is there was no mention of Virtual Console stuff on the Switch. No mention at all. The only thing semi-related to it is during the Treehouse coverage, Miyamoto was talking about Super Mario Odyssey, and he did this whole thing where it's like, let's go back through all the previous Mario games and talk about them, and they were like showing the clips from the Mario games, and I'm like, is that a hint? Like, can we play all these on the Switch, or are you just showing them for the sake of your point? Or I don't know. And so there was that, but yeah, that's kind of disappointing to not find out anything about the Virtual Console, because we've been hearing things about like 3 GameCube titles at the start, but just none of it's confirmed. It's all still up in the air. And then there was no mention of VR. I know some people have been saying VR is going to happen and stuff, but as I said in my concerns video, I don't really care about VR personally, so I'm just kind of like, oh well, I can live without the knowledge of that. I just figure it's probably like a bunch of their other console features they mention, which are just like, well, get to it in a few months. It'll be there at some point. Just hold on out for us. Yeah. Yep. And so that's it. That's all I have to cover.